Hello, hello, welcome back to the Lorethrough, and today we are handling episode 125. We are getting so very close to the end of the game, and I can taste it. Now, we don't have a whole lot in terms of actual in-game content, but we're going to have a good deal to talk about in terms of lore as we get farther on. Let's see if I can not plink on the wall this time. There we go. And I missed this body last time. Hey, gold 12 rune. Should have known. And I guess we're going to do the lower area today. So because we jumped down to this midway point, we can safely drop down here. If you try to jump down to this lower area from up above, you will have a bad time because it will just up and kill you. And I'm trying to remember what's in this area. And I wonder if slow moving helps you sneak up on these fellows. But I wanted to use the Ash of War. Just to see how well it did. Storm Assault was pretty bad in PvP. The initial storm thing would hit somebody, and then they would just roll away before the impact. And it kind of sucked. In patch 110, though, it's a full-on stumble, and it stumbles the enemy long enough that they will definitely get impaled by the second part. And I wanted to see if it worked on PvE as well, and I felt like the Banished Knight, who use all the storm abilities, would be an ample place to test it out. Man, I love how big their shields are. And to be fair, it's like the second best in terms of guard boost of the medium shields. But I would still absolutely adore to have a great shield in their shape. I just love how simple the design is. Very fashionable. Ow, jeez. Heavy attacks and halberds are the keys to success. Alright, so we have the Azula Beastman Ashes. Interesting that it just says Azula, not Farum-Azula. So, is Farum-Azula like a conjoined nation state? I don't know. Let's read the description as I fumble around in my inventory incessantly. Here we go. Ashen remains in which spirits yet dwell, used to summon the spirits of two Azula Beastmen. Spirits of beastmen from doomed Farum-Azula, the slowly crumbling ruins in the skies. These ruins are said to be the remains of a giant mausoleum enshrining an ancient dragon, guarded by chosen beastmen who wielded weapons clad in lightning. And sure enough, we've seen a couple beastmen throwing, honestly, they look like little chuck rams, but I'm not sure what they actually are. Little bladed implements that fly like a discus and are wreathed in red lightning. So, we've definitely found those things. This is where we came from. Yeah. Still, definitely a mausoleum of sorts. So here we find our first human-ish opponents, these Banished Knights. Kind of interesting that we've seen Banished Knights throughout the whole game, and they are still a threat. They're spooky. I think they use more of their wind abilities here, but I don't have a source for that. Oh yeah, there's a side of grace here. There's a boss up here. Right. And here's one of the locations where we can summon Bernal for the fight that's in that room. And look at that big old dragon boy head. Looks like it's made of rocks. Miyazaki loves making his dragons out of rocks. I think it's funny, personally. I mean, it does add a sort of alien, primordial feeling to them, for certain. But we're going to go back to the Dragon Temple side of Grace and do the rest of the area, since we did the little hidden side area. So it's kind of interesting that there's more than one path to the boss fight, I'll say. I need to buff this bad boy, since I'm actually really liking how Storm Assault holds these boys in place. Oh, good. It still hurt me quite a bit. Ouchie. Do not like. Kind of interesting that the Storm Assault procs my multi-hit buff that I get from my talismans. And we can't get to that one from this angle. We have a balcony. And there are these grand drapes with fringe on them. And more of those Varna Necropolis burial places. We should probably explore the upper area and then come back this way. Interesting they blocked that. I thought he was going for some sort of Storm Stomp or whatever windy variant he might have. There we go. I love halberds. They're so helpful. All the time. Candles that are still lit. So we've noticed Banished Knights participating in Dragon Communion. We've noticed Banished Knights, of course, using these wind abilities that seem to be associated with the Stormhawks. Given that we're near the Eye of the Storm, it makes me wonder if there's some sort of connection between Stormhawks and dragons. I think I've drawn slight allusions between them before. Almost as if hawks are kind of the final version of dragons to some extent. There we go. We're able to grab that. I guess we could just hop down. There's nothing really stopping us. Nothing but ourselves. I think he was going to do one of those Dragon Communion incantations right there. I probably should have let him, but the red symbol for the Dragon Communion seal appears. We killed him earlier. Okay, I was like staring at him below. I was like, that don't seem quite right. Why is he there? And is there anything else I should use? Do I have anything with Storm Stomp? That's the real question. Because Storm Stomp is also a great tool if you have trouble with these Banished Knights. My Dismounter has it. And so does my Omen Killer Cleaver. So to kind of show off what I'm talking about, you can hit him with a big old power attack if you have an opportunity to. And you can stomp, and it gives you enough time for another fully charged power attack. And then you can crit them. And then you can repeat the process with either a well-timed power attack or an immediate Storm Stomp if you're less confident. That tactic seems to work on anything that's in the Great Weapon class or larger. So, curved greatswords, great lances would probably work, though I haven't tested it myself. Greatswords definitely work. Namely the Claymore. I'm sure the other ones work as well, but... yeah, so we find ourselves here. This was the spiral staircase we could have gone down earlier. This wraps back to that starting grace, right? Where we fought a knight in the corridor there. So now we get to pick our tools of trade. I think I'm gonna just bring the one. I'm gonna bring way too many weapons because I have quite the equip load. Probably gonna regret it. I just feel like going all out on this one. Just this once. And let's grab some of this. Okay. You know what? I'll bring Finley. I'll bring Clean Rot Knight Finley, and we'll bring Recusant Bernal. Why not? Yeah, we'll do exactly that. Yeah, he can't enter. There's a fog wall for him, but we can't see it, which is kind of funny to me. Okay, I think it's gonna fall asleep. Jeez. Well, we're doing great. Finley's doing rot, I think. So I didn't need to bring the Anspur Rapier. This is kind of gross, isn't it? Oh, Bernal's getting a crit with his unique serpent hammer. Wow. Night and day difference when you have some levels and some health. My goodness. That fight gives people a lot of trouble normally. And I don't blame them. Finley just gets to hang out. Yeah, I don't even know if Finley inflicted rot once, but Finley was plenty aggressive. Which isn't bad. Because working with Bernal, they would poise break the thing without me. They could probably almost do the fight on their own. Almost. Probably not quite. The sleep effect is just too darn strong to pass up on them. But we got a new Ash of War, and I should apply it to something. Yeah, we'll put it on this halberd. We don't need Braggart's Roar on that sucker. Black Flame Tornado. I wonder which one it has higher AR with, actually. I'm genuinely curious now. Okay, so right now it is Fire, so it's the strength version, and it has 730 AR. I bet it'll be better once we put Faith on it. But I don't know that for certain. And Flame Art. And then we will two-hand it. 729, it's one difference. Okay, 723 one-handed. What is it like one-handed with the flame? Because it might have been tricked because of my strength modifier. Oh yeah, it's about the same if I do flame art, while it's significantly worse if I just do fire. I thought that would be the trick, but me two-handing it threw me off. Okay, so we got ourselves the Smithing Stone Miner's Bell Bearing, so we can buy level 7 and 8 Smithing Stones, so that gets us up to 24. We can now buy those. Thank goodness. And we also got the Black Flame Tornado. Spin armament overhead and then plunge it into the ground to summon a raging vortex of black flames. Hold to create an initial flame tornado while spinning the armament. Sorry, I don't know why, but initial was not coming to my mind. My brain wanted to read it as a completely different sounding word. But it does this. And then you can either let it go by holding it, or you can start the cast and then release it early. This is very effective in PvP. You can 3v1 some squads if they run into it early enough. And if it's a very good vigor check. Very good on strength and faith builds, primarily. You could probably use it on like a physical infusion if you really wanted to, but it seems to be a little more effective on those fiery builds. But yeah, Bernal helped us at the end of time. I don't know if the end of time's the right phrasing, but okay, let's see. We have these weird copper windows, more floral patterns by the looks of it. Or are they dragons? No, they're floral. Lots of floral patterns. We hear marching boots. This grand hall. temple of the Dragon Temple. Dragon Temple altar. There. The big old skull face, though. I'm trying to remember if we've seen dragons that look like that. It's a little closer to the modern dragons, to my knowledge, to what we've seen thus far. And a little less like the ancient dragons. So kind of interesting. Why is that here? It doesn't look like it's just peeking through the wall. It looks like it probably is a genuine statue, unless they decapitated a dragon of some sort. Very nice set piece, though. I like this arena. I like how the pillars are destructible by the boss. It's kind of neat. Okay, I think we're good to head this way. I want to use Black Flame Tornado on some poor, unsuspecting rube. Then we can switch our kit. But hey, interesting. Okay, so we're more towards the... well, I should say the northern region of this zone. Can I safely stand over here? Not pulling anyone's attention. There's the lightning and wreathed weapons. That guy's got gold eyes. There is that central structure. It's got that twin bird sigil above it. And looks like there is one of those malformed tree sentinels out front, a boss fog. Big old windy road. Little side staircase. And interestingly enough, it looks like there are dragons embedded in the rock here. And the dragons, kind of like the ancient dragons we've seen, have gashes, wounds in them, it looks like, that are gold. Looks like we have ancient dragon statues of a sort. There's another one, along with the beastmen buried behind them. Alright, and... yeah, I think we're good to continue investigating. Just kind of looking around. Nothing yet in the lore, per se. Yeah, he just starts flinging those. Yeah, it kills them real fast. Black Flame Tornado. If you happen to come here before you fight Melania, Black Flame Tornado will kind of trivialize her fight. You have to work on your timing on it, though, but kind of like Chaos Flamestorm or whatever that thing I was using that causes fire pillars to come up from the ground. It'll throw her up in the air and provide excellent crowd control. Crowd control, I say, even though it's a single target. That's just kind of how the verbiage works. What have I not used in some time? I feel like we haven't used a curved sword. This sounds fun. I thought there was an enemy in this corner. I don't have stamina. I was afraid those things would come back like boomerangs and hit me in the backside, but it didn't happen like that. 5 old fangs. We have some dogs, regular dogs. Dogs are always in such shoddy condition in these Souls games. Kind of feels bad. Around here you find a hero's rune, so big money. They want you to have some big money on hand. Why wouldn't you want big money? Yeah. So we have ancient dragons, more of these figures, but given the size of these dragon statues, we kind of start to see a hierarchy form. It seems that beastmen might have been bottom rung, and then some form of humans, possibly the draconic humans, and then the ancient dragons. Shucks. Let's try that again. It's too short, it missed. That's funny. And looky here, there's statues of beastmen attendants. So maybe it's lay beastmen, then draconic humans, then beastmen attendants, then dragons at the top of the pecking order? Not sure. Still interesting. And you know what? They're kind of dressed like Grank, but they look like beastmen that we've met before. And fought and killed and slain. Maybe there's just the one beastman on this level. Oh no, there's this back area. There's always more. There's an item. Yoink! Smith and Stone 7. Comes out so fast even when I know there's a trap. It's like even when I win, they win. And we get some lightning grease. Interdasting. Okay. Alright. Unique, wonderful land of Farum Azula. I think we can go up to the upper level now. Oh, right, the upper level. Yeah, that'll make a great little finishing area for what we want to do. You didn't notice me. Also, if you needed to get back up to where you fell down, that's what this floating array is for. The statues of beastmen keep throwing me off. Good old frostbite. And Somber 9. Yeah, look at them curved weapons that they're throwing. It's definitely beyond human ken. And physics. But we'll say beyond human ken to preserve the fantasy element of the game. Oh. I've been spotted. A little unnecessary. Alright, and we can use 2 stone sword keys, which I feel like it's been a while since we've used some of these. The game gives you so many, I mean... How many do we even have? 6? So yeah, there's a good amount of spares, but you do need to, like, explore the world. 6 is really... And I'm sure I didn't grab them all. In fact, I think I could think of a few off the top of my head. I just didn't bother because they were out of the way or what have you. Not worth it. But yeah, there's a surplus. There's like 10 or so extra keys for how many things you need to open throughout the game, so... Oh, right, I forgot. The undead are here. But here we see this nice little promenade. I like this little area, the way it's shaped. I wish more of Farum Azula was areas like this, but this is a solo area? And the reason it's a solo area is because it loops back to an area we've already been to. And since we defeat the boss, there would be no boss to run to. Yeah, these big guys are hard to stumble. Backstabs are probably a good way to deal with them. He was just so befuddled. Okay, so we got the tasty big item there. Nascent butterflies. Rocky. Yeah, like this area would be so cool for PvP. I don't know, I like how there's buildings and it's not huge though. There's more of those weird creatures sticking out of the rocks. That dog's not undead. I just want to know who hung them up in trees. Like, I wonder if this was an attempt to keep them away from the death route. Or to keep them immobile. But they can let themselves out of the tree when they perceive harm. This is an expensive way to kill them all. Now I realize it, popping Sacred Blade on every single one. It works, but it's not cost effective. That's what my little 1 mana... I'll use it on this guy. Oh, I couldn't roll out of that. It stumbled me long enough. Oh, shucks. I should have had, like, this on my back for killing all those guys. That would have healed me all the way. Easily. Yeah, that's way better healing. Very good backpack, even if you don't have the stats for it. The weight might be a bit cumbersome. In PvE, you could probably get away with chunky rolling, as long as you got your running and spacing down. And I love how there is a minor Erd tree here, a little Erd tree sapling. How did it get here? In the land that's supposed to be older than the Erd tree itself. Kind of insane. Okay, we have a little walk-up path here. Oh, I think I'm remembering something. I remember a beetle. Did that piss it off? Oh shucks, I think that pissed it off. Is it gonna fly over here? Or did he just leave because he doesn't want to get trolled? I don't know if he drops anything, actually. He's gonna come back, just you wait. No. Okay, so you can get him to screw off just by hurting him from a range or whatever. Fascinating. Not the most effective setup. Great bow main hand, great sword offhand. I mean, it might work for some sorts. Oh, we could have brought a summon here. Oh well. And it looks like we finally made our way to Alexander. Hey buddy, how are you?
Ah, I see you finally made it here yourself. The city hanging in the air is slowly crumbling. What an incredible place we find ourselves. But that aside, you're certainly a force to be reckoned with, eh? I doubt there's a single soul who could have handled that giant other than you. It was practically a god. Of course, I count myself, the great Alexander, among the many. Which means I've but one thing to ask of you. Would you kindly undertake my ordeal? Come and tell me when you're ready. I've been longing to fight a warrior as accomplished as you.
Alexander, no. And he's a little less jovial here. I wonder what could possibly be going through his mind, through his mind's eye. What he's thinking of, right? Because he wants strong bodies to strengthen himself, and he seems almost somber about it, like he knows that if he could defeat us, we would be a fantastic corpse to fill his vessel. He'd be the strongest pot ever. Surely, with all the runes we've consumed, right? Our body is peak condition, as far as characters in the world of the Lands Between go. But he doesn't seem optimistic. That's the vibe I get. That might be reading a little too much into it, but I digress. We will give him a warrior's battle through and through. And we'll do it by punching.
You are ready then? Then let us begin. I am the great Jar Warrior. Iron.
Oh, that feels so bad. We'll let him do some of his moves. See?
Let us become one champion together.
But he's certainly got some moves on him. Yeah, he can knock you off the cliff on that one. He is obviously the strongest and hardest hitting pot. For sure. At me as I'm just playing with my inventory. He has some very fancy moves, though, I want to show off. probably eat one of these bad boys. But he did a fancy move earlier that chunked like half of our HP. Yeah, that's the one. I didn't know it was like an earthquake. That's neat. He's got some punches. Yeah, here's the one I wanted to see. But yeah, he's learned this huge ground pound. He's learned a fiery Shoryuken. I think he used at least the fiery Shoryuken on the pot, not the pot god, go on the fire giant. I think those are the end of his new moves, which I don't think we see any other pot ever use. Sorry, Alexander. Gotta give you that warrior's death. Didn't feel good.
As I suspected, victory was impossible. This vessel was found lacking. My thanks. I knew you were the stuff of champions. It was a marvelous battle. I implore you, take what I bequeath from inside me. All vessels are destined to one day break. But the great Alexander lived as a warrior to his last.
And we get the Shard of Alexander and Alexander's innards. So let's take a look at those. So I'll need to reform inventory for this, but I like this item a lot. A lot of people like this item. A Shard of the late Alexander, a Shattered Warrior Jar. Greatly boosts the attack power of skills, so Ashes of War, which is fantastic. If you kill him, you get earlier in his questline, you get a weaker version of this. This is the stronger version. Scraps of stewed flesh cling to the shard, and tatters of ornaments can be seen mingled within the slime. Ugh. Relics of a red-haired champion, it would seem. So he had part of the fire giant in him. I wonder if that's where he got the fire. No, I think he was using the fire Shoryuken during the fight with the giant. But yeah, it would seem that he took part of the fire giant in him for that cause. And let's take a look at the key item, and then we need to quickly finish this little area. Yeah, we'll read that item while we're thinking about it. A keepsake of the warrior jar Alexander, found at the core of the dead flesh that once filled the great jar. So this was his core. The jars contain dregs inherited from those who came before. Thus our warriors pass from jar to jar, carrying dreams of greatness. Yucky. But it's a key item. I mean, we need to do something with it. And it occurred to me the other day that this is what needed to happen before Jarbaron would feel ready to leave on his journey, because he's scared. And Alexander's probably the bravest pot there ever was. Whether or not that was caused by delusion, doesn't matter. He was the brave pot. Ooh, I almost jumped off the cliff there. That would be miserable. I was like thinking to myself, I was like, I should start carrying the sort of Mios on me so I can get my mana back per kill, you know? But we have the Ancestral Spirit Horn. And in here we have the Ancient Dragon's Cookbook, which might be the last of the cookbooks. Eek. Glad we had enough poise to not get stumbled by that. Okay, I think that's it for there. And, yeah. So we are going to cut the episode, but we're gonna head to Jarburg first and send Jarbaron on his way real fast. I can't help it. It connects thematically. I wanted to put it in the next episode because I want to get these things closer to 30 minutes, but gotta do some things for the nicety of the video. All right.
Wow. Cuz, are these insights from Uncle Alexander? Thank you. Cuz, I'm a warrior jar, so I need to be strong. I can really have them, right? I understand. I'll get strong. Strong enough. I deserve to have Uncle's insights. I don't think I'll see you again. When I set out, warriors are supposed to work alone. Goodbye, cuz. And thanks for everything. I'll never forget you, cuz. I'll never forget you.
And teleport back to Jarburg. And there's an item in his place. As there tends to be when people leave our story. The Champion Jar. Talisman given by the jars to their friends. Raises potency of thrown jars. Though the jars are brought to life by human flesh and blood, they are all rather kindly folk. Perhaps they were made to be better than their innards. Kinda gross, but he left that to show he was a friend to us. Well, thank you for joining me today. Episode 125. We're making great progress. We don't have that much of Farum Azula left, so we'll see you next time. And one of these episodes is going to have to be a rant-isode, but we're getting really close to the finish. Thank you for keeping with me all this time, and I hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.